Hello! So Fridays are usually art in the afternoon, and just because we're at home doesn't mean that we can't do any painting. We came round to your homes with some packs and you should have some felt tips in them. So we are going to do some watercolour landscapes using felt tips as watercolours. It's easier than it sounds. So I'm going to do like a how-to. I'm just going to do a landscape from my house, which is the sunset the other night, which was absolutely beautiful, to show you how to use felt tips as watercolours. And then when you've done your own, can you put pictures of them on Dojo or send them to me, and we'll have a bit of a gallery, a bit of a Tony Hart gallery type thing going. Okay, brilliant. Okay, so the landscape I'm going to do was the view outside of my back window the other night, which had this beautiful sunset. Unfortunately, you can't see the colours brilliantly on the computer screen, but it's beautiful oranges and blues, and you can just, you can just see there's a kind of bright star in the middle. So this is what I'm going to try and replicate. Now, my kitchen table has been taken over by schoolwork, so I apologise for any mess, and I'm going to do it here in the hope that you can see nice and clearly. Okay, so I'm going to do a watercolour scene, but I'm going to use felt tips. So I'm going to use the photo of my back garden, and this is going to be the top, this is going to be the bottom. In fact, I'll try and do it towards you as much as I can, so bottom and the top. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm not going to put water on here straight away because I don't want it to ruin the felt tips. I'm going to start off with a nice thick blue. I'm just going to do my top. I'm going to do some nice thick blue lines. You might think that looks really scruffy. Oh, before I do that, in my photo I had a star and a moon. Now this is just a normal wax candle. Watercolour things are resistant to wax. So if I draw a kind of star, and then the moon was slightly lower down, you won't be able to see that, but you'll see it when I paint. So I've got my felt tip. I want to get my water, and I'm going to move it in. And as you can see, it turns into a lovely watercolour. And there's my star, look. The wax resist. I can go over that as much as I want. It doesn't work. So now I don't want it, and there's my moon. I don't want it to be all one solid blue. I would quite like what we call an ombre. I'm just going to try and get rid of some of those lines. It doesn't matter too much if you can't get rid of them all, because we're going to do some blending work in with them. Make sure I get a clean brush. Okay, now at the bottom of mine there was like an orange sunset, so I'm my thick felt tip, and I'm just going to do my nice, oopsie, it's hard doing this not the right way around, orange. I get my clean brush, clean as I can get it anyway, and I'm going to turn that into kind of sunset. I might need to add a little bit more. Just now, the reason I didn't want to put the water on first is, can you see it kind of makes the felt tip go funny, but that will sort itself out over time. Add a bit more on. Okay, now it was dark shadow because it was night time. Now this is chromatography, so the black is actually made up of other colours like blues and things like that, so it might go a little bit black, but when it's dry, we can add detail in with the pen afterwards. It's just when it's wet, it's a little bit of an issue. See, get my water again. So you see how it's kind of going a really dark blue. That's okay, because it's all in the detail afterwards. And I had a kind of tree here. I'm going to put a bit of extra back in so I can smooth, get a bit more definition, which I can add to later. And I had a big kind of bush over this side, which again I will sort the definition. Now I might actually add some of that black up to the top as well and make that a nice blended. Now I'm doing this super quick. I want you to take a bit of time over it. You should come up with some beautiful, beautiful landscapes. Now it doesn't have to be the landscape that you see out your window. You can use your local area obviously, but you can also, if you see something online that you think is lovely, do that as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave that to dry. I'm going to add some definition into here and put the gateposts, and you will see it at the end. Okay, great. So we've had a look at how we can use felt tips for watercolours, and we did a landscape, and this one is just kind of a bit of a motivation just for fun and make really nice presents. What you'll need is some paper, felt tips, a ruler and a biro. We don't want an ink pen just yet, you'll need the ink pen at the end. So it's quite a few steps. I'm going to show you bit by bit, and I would love to see these as well. Okay, so you will need your piece of paper, and I've got newspaper under this. I've used white just because it makes it nice and clear. In fact, I'll put the white on in a bit. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to need a pencil, and I'm going to get a ruler, and I'm going to draw a little border. So I'm going to line up my ruler with the edge, and I'm going to press very lightly with the pencil because I want to rub it out at the end. And I'm just going to do a very, rest it at the edge, very light crossing over, not all the way to the end. You just want it so that you end up with a vertice where the edges converge. Okay, so you should end up with that. Now, because I like a double border, I'm just going to do a double border. So I'm just going to go bit by eye, and I'm going to go slightly outside of the edge each time. And I'm going to do that all the way around, and you'll see why shortly. These make really nice presents once they're dry, and I'll show you how to stick them onto a bit of a frame that you can make yourself. So you can see you've kind of got a double border there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick a biro. You don't want ink like a handwriting pen because it will run. So I want biro. You're going to use that later. So I'm going to get my biro, and I'm just going to join up the two frames. Okay, I'm sorry if you can't see my hands, but I will show you what's happening when it is done. So I've got my inner frame happening, and then I'm going to do my outer frame. This is kind of like a basis because you're going to end up putting water over it. So if you used ink or handwriting pen, it would all run and it'd be a big old splodgy mess. And that's not the kind of splodgy mess we want. Okay? So with biro, it won't run. So I've got my two frames. All right, so what we're going to do now is I'm going to get my pencil again, and I'm just going to draw two very light lines because I want, you don't have to. In fact, you know what? I'm going to go freehand. Why not? So I'm just going to choose. It's a bit hard at the minute, isn't it? That you've got to keep going and you've got to believe that it's the end of, you know, it's all going to be okay, and we've got to keep ourselves motivated. So I want to do a nice little motivational quote. So I'm just going to say never give up. And we're going to try and do a bit of modern calligraphy. So you can do it in pencil first and go over it if that's what you want. I'm going straight in with biro because I've had a practice. So I'm going to go So a bit of modern calligraphy. You can Google these modern calligraphy quotes and they'll give you lots and lots and lots. So modern calligraphy quotes. All right. And I'm gonna go like that. I'm just gonna pause it. Sorry, it's just a bit loud in the other room. And then I'm gonna do a never give up. So okay, looks a bit weird, but it will make sense afterwards. So this is our basis. Now we want a nice kind of abstract watercolour in it, but first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to rub off the pencil marks because I'm not going to be able to rub them off behind. So don't worry if a tiny bit of your edge goes a bit funny. It's all right, it'll all add to the aesthetic. So don't rub too hard. You don't want to rip the paper or anything, as long as you can't see any of the parts. So I've seen this done with a sandwich bag, but I've tried that, it doesn't work as well. So I'm going to use cling film. I'm trying to use stuff you've got in the house, because obviously we're in the house at the moment. So what I'm going to do, get an adult to help you if you don't feel confident with scissors or things like this. Don't rip it because you'll end up with a big splodgy mess. So you want to put the cling film on top of the quote, all right? Can you see that? Then you are going to get your felt tip. So I'm going to go for some green. And all you're going to do is you're just going to draw some nice, there's absolutely no rules with this, just nice abstract, shove it on. I think yellow goes quite nicely with green. I also think blue goes quite nicely with green and yellow. Okay, all right. And what we're going to do is, without moving this, we're going to slide that out. So you should be able to see all the splodges, all right? Then you're going to get your brush and your water. And I've tried putting it on there, it doesn't work as well. So I'm going to put water all over my quote. It's best if you have thicker paper for this. Okay. And what we're going to do is we're going to line it up face down. We're going to line it up. And we're going to smooth it down. And hopefully, what we should end up with is this cool effect. Now we're not finished yet. We need to leave that to dry and I'll show you the next step. Okay? Now, in true Blue Peter fashion, here is one I made earlier. And this is where I'm going to get my inky handwriting pen. So what I want to do, because it's nice and dry, is I'm going to go over those lines again, but in the handwriting pen now. Okay? So we want it to stand out nice and thick. I'm going to use this side because I've got a wibbly wobbly edge. Nice black pen, because it'll make it pop. It'd be great. So I'm going to go around all the edges. I'm going to pause it while I do that. Okay, so I have gone around my frame and now I'm going to do my letters, but I'm going to make them a little bit thicker in certain places. So I'm going to do the outlines first, making sure I absolutely cover the biro. So it doesn't matter whether your biro is blue or black, because black ink will cover it. Okay, and then I'm going to join and make some bits thicker. So I'm going to make this bit thicker here and a tiny bit thicker there, and then I am going to go, this one is a bit thicker. I'm going to make this a bit thicker, bit curvier but thicker, bit thicker, thicker, thicker. Okay, So you see where we have these? We're going to colour those in. And it should give a lovely kind of calligraphy effect if you don't have a calligraphy pen. And also what's great about these is, I know it's some effort, but it looks like you've put much more effort in it than you probably have. Okay, and now I'm going to do my give up. So I'm going to go around the outline first. See, I've gone a bit dodgy there, so I might have to thicken that bit up. Okay, and now I'm going to add in my thick bit. So I want nice thick there. I'm going to go thick there. Thick there. And okay, so where I've got my gaps, I'm now going to colour those in. Hopefully, when it's all done, it's going to look really cool. There we go. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim it slightly, and then I'm going to frame it on a different colour if I've got some. If not, just a nicer piece behind it so you can put it up on the wall.